This is me. I was born in Slovakia in the 90s. It's not Slovenia, by the way, which is here, nor is it Czechoslovakia, which separated in the Velvet Divorce in 1993, to the surprise of some of my uni professors. As I would come to find out, all most people know of my country is from the movie Hostel, a touching tale about kidnapping and torturing tourists.
You fucking bitch!
I get a lot of money for you. And that make you my bitch.
Yeah, as well as the much beloved Euro trip.
Bratislava!
Do you know if there's a train coming anytime soon?
Oh yes, very soon. They are building it now.
Both of which were filmed in the Czech Republic, by the way. Now, these representations would be all fun and good if there was some more positive PR to balance the scales. Sadly, there isn't much from what I know. It's alright though, when I was a kid, I didn't think of my country much. I remember having a pretty lovely childhood. I'm an only child, but I spent a lot of time with my cousins, who I played with almost every day after school. We played endless board games, spies, I was always the double agent, pirates, shopkeepers, where we would collect stuff from around the house and try to sell it back to our parents. We had family friends too, and we spent a lot of time in nature. We played football and baseball. Born just into the wire of the internet revolution, so much happened in our imaginations. I also remember spending a lot of time with my grandmother. Mostly, I think I remember it so fondly because I was never alone. When I was 9, we moved to Belgium. I remember the following period being intensely lonely and grim. There was one other Slovak kid in my class. He was meant to help me with my reading, but he would get frustrated easily, shout at me, and call me names. One time I broke down at swimming when I didn't understand how to dive right. I was on the ramp shaking and just turned around and refused to jump. My teacher wrote in my agenda that day, "Simona is being highly uncooperative. She won't communicate and seems rather in poor spirits." I don't have too many memories from this time, to be honest. It turns out it's quite hard to store information when you don't understand what's going on. I just remember always being tense and scared that I was missing something, that I hadn't understood and that I was supposed to be somewhere. I remember we visited Slovakia every holiday, so I still got a lot of time at home. Later, this turned to twice a year, and in the last years, only Christmas. I stopped liking going back. I started to build a new life, and in the summer, I wanted to have fun with my friends, not go back somewhere where I'd be lonely again, and just be dragged from one family function to another. Now, a family that had no idea what my life was like. I always just wanted to be where I was understood the most. I started to feel alienated. I didn't fully make sense anywhere. Once I didn't understand my past, and the other didn't understand my present. When I was 18, I moved again to another country, this time by myself. At the time, I was excited for the fresh start, and I was rejecting the idea of family altogether. It wasn't something that I associated with being understood, comforted, or supported. I associated it with a lonely, hollow feeling, a feeling of being other. You know, it really takes something like a pandemic to realize that no man is an island. For a while, I thought I could do it alone, but when there's a crisis, there's like an instinct to huddle with your tribe, to go home, and I wasn't sure where that was. There was the uncertainty, the fear of getting sick or being in danger, and there being nobody to save me. And yes, I do still have a family, but I think if the pandemic taught more people anything, it's that nothing can replace someone physically being there, and that talking to people through technology or long distance is just not the same as having them there every day to be witness to your life. For a while, I really believed in chosen family. I really believed that friends would be enough, the people who actually understood my experience the best. This is hard though, because it led me to have very high expectations of my friends. In the end, they're not my family. They're not programmed to love me, to take care of me. if you can find friends like that, that's really great, but a lot of friendships are much more transactional. People want to benefit somehow, which is, I guess, the one thing you can say about family is that it shouldn't be transactional, and that's what makes it so special. You know, I would get upset if my friends didn't answer my text or something, because to me that was the only thing I had, whereas they often had their family and their friends. So if I didn't answer their text, they still had something to fall back on, it felt like. Whereas, so to them it was an extra, and I felt like to me it was survival. And it's hard to meet people more than they need you. And it's hard to see people be close to their family emotionally and physically. And to realize that you might never get to have that because of how your life is set up. For the bigger part of this year, I've been really angry and resentful towards my TCK journey. There are moments where the identity struggles and the restlessness is so overwhelming, and I feel so torn between places and people that sometimes I just want to explode. I yearn for simplicity, to come from a place, to live in that place, to build in that place. Belonging is a basic need. It's not something we can just learn to live without. And for me, the only people I really belong with are other third culture kids, but they're scattered all over the world often, and we struggle to just take care of each other even. And my brain is so tired of trying to keep track of everyone in all these different places and wondering when I'll see them again. This year, all I've been wishing for is to just scoop everybody up and gather them near to me, but I know that's never going to be possible. I'm trying to see the positives, I'm trying to see the opportunities and what it gave me, but I can't help but feel that any opportunities I have will be built on a shoddy foundation, and that they won't fill this restlessness inside me that's just there, that I don't think is going away. When people tell me that it gave me so much, I feel like they don't realize that it also took things from me. They say, you have so many opportunities, you learn languages, you have an open-minded worldview. But I wonder, could I not have those things if I had lived in one place? Like, I'm sure there's tons of successful, open-minded people who learn languages who come from one place, who are not TCKs. But the things that it took away, that stable, safe feeling, is something I feel like I can't ever get back. Like, I can't make that retroactively. And because of that, it feels like it was an uneven trade. In the end, what you get is there's no home and away. There's just places that have pieces of you, and wherever you go, you're missing somebody. So to go beyond my own experience, in homage to John Green's Anthropocene Reviewed, I asked some of my TCK friends to review their TCK experience on a 5-star scale. So here are some of those. As the son of a British mother and a gay father, it was a bit confusing growing up as a heterosexual in Belgium. I thought that I was British at heart, but after going to university in London, I realized I only shared a language with those people. Alas, shit food and ketamine aren't really my thing. Since leaving, I've done my best to become more Belgian, a country whose schizophrenic identity more closely resembles my own. Overall, I wouldn't recommend. Rootlessness makes life more complicated than it needs to be. I rate being a TCK 3 out of 5 stars. I was born in Belgium to a couple of Spanish lawyers. Considering that I was born to parents from one nationality in a francophone island with a Flemish-speaking region raised side by side with kids from 7 other nationalities, you can guess that my identity-building process was very confusing. To my cousins, I was the Belgian kid. To kids at school, I was the Spaniard. And to Belgian people, I was the Euro kid. At that point, the whole TCK experience was more of a nuisance than anything else. But growing up, I learned how to appreciate it. I realized how identity is not so much about fitting within a tribe as it is to know myself better. I rate being a TCK 4.5 out of 5. Nationalities are French, Dutch. I was born in France and have lived in Poland, the Netherlands, US, Israel, and Greece. I relate to and recognize parts of my identity as stemming from each of those places. My identity is also the floating, calmly, from one to the other, and beside them all. The essence of being a TCK seems to be the slight detachment, loneliness often, but also the understanding at your core that how you live is not how everyone lives. I'm mainly grateful for this somewhat fragmented life because it was filled with sunshine and interesting flavors and learning languages easily and history, and privilege, because that floating feeling also means you're rarely impacted by local dynamics as much as locals are. I feel a bit like I owe it to that wealth of experience to rate being a TCK 4 out of 5 stars. I was born in Slovakia. Both of my parents are Slovak. I lived there for 11 years, then we decided that the weather was just too nice and went to live in Belgium. I also made some bad choices and went to live in Scotland and Australia. For TCKs, your culture becomes the people around you. For me, those people were Spanish, English, Irish, French, German, Greek. With that, you really learn how to adapt to just about anything and become a chameleon. I think today I could live anywhere and will be able to find my way around, although I really don't want to. I just want to find a place where I can be happy, my ground, from where I am happy to visit anywhere, but will always come back to. I feel like TCKs can live in any world, and a few worlds at the same time, but I also feel like very few people can live in the world of a TCK. There was a point when I lived and had stuff in Sydney, Glasgow, Brussels, and Košice, and I guess I should be grateful for having had 4 roofs over my head in 4 different places of the world at the same time. But most of the time I was just pissed that I could never find anything, only to remember that I had left it on a different continent. I now own 4 hair dryers, 2 of them don't fit into my plugs. Anyway, I'm trying to piece it together now, and what better place to do that than where your annoying family lives. So I'm back in Slovakia figuring out if this is where I can belong once again, and if not, at least I have hair dryers that will work pretty much anywhere, and next time I leave, I'm taking them with. I rate being a TCK 3 out of 5 stars. I would really love to tie a neat bow on this video and say I have the answers, but clearly I don't. Clearly I'm still very much in the middle of it all, trying to figure out what it means to me, whether I can move past these feelings, whether I can ever feel at home somewhere, whether those rootless feelings do ever go away, whether I will ever be at peace with the way that my life went and with how scattered it is now. So I can't offer those solutions, but I just had a lot of feelings.
She doesn't even go here.
And I think, no, I don't have answers and I don't have solutions, but if this is a situation that you identify with, maybe it helps to know that you're not the only person with a home-shaped hole, with a home-shaped hole. Maybe it helps to know that you're not the only person with a home-shaped hole in you. And, you know, maybe that's better than having the answers. Just knowing you're not alone.